Hello and welcome to the Pleasurepreneur podcast. This podcast will help you create what you desire in your business with pleasure, whether that be calling in your ideal clients, making more money, or creating a balanced business life blend. I'm your host, Regan Fig, pleasure and business coach, published author of A Mother's Pleasure, wife and mama to 3 little wildlings. However you're choosing to listen to this podcast, ask yourself, how can I make this more pleasurable? And do just that. I acknowledge the custodians of the land on which this podcast is recorded and produced, the Wadi Wadi people of Dharawal land. Now, let's proceed with pleasure. Hello, and welcome to today's episode. This is my first episode that I'm recording since being back from holidays, the first episode I'm recording this year, and it is nice to be back in my velvety green coaching chair and my black and gold sequiny cushion. I'm home, the kids are out with my husband Jake, and I have just had one of those mornings where I have just smashed out like 5 emails, some Instagram stories, a couple of draft reels, and now I'm recording a podcast whilst also I took myself out for a coffee. Hello. And it is just so relevant. It is so relevant because, it's relevant with the conversation I want to have with you today. And it is stemming from a conversation I had with a new friend/peer recently. And it's also a similar kind of conversation, or I suppose a question or a challenge that I have received before around the approach I have with business, around the pleasurepreneur approach. And so it goes a little something like this. The question is like, well, but Regan, if I prioritize my pleasure, won't I just end up eating cake and watching Netflix all day? Right? Like if I want to grow my business, if I want to make more money, like if I want to serve more people, surely I need to be in my business, like taking action. And I think if I just gave myself complete freedom to do what pleases me and do what I desire and do the things that bring me pleasure, like that's going to take me out of my business and onto the lounge with cake and Netflix 24/7. Now, first of all, let's be clear, I have nothing against cake or Netflix. In fact, I love carrot cake, any cake really, let's be honest. And I have no issues with, tuning out and enjoying some Netflix. I watched something recently that was kind of good. Jake didn't like it. It was The Territory, an Australian mini-series. Anyway, that's a side note. But I do get this question and I love it so much. I love when people challenge me and it's the yeah, but fill in the blank. Yeah, but I don't believe you. Yeah, but really, is that true? Yeah, but how does that work in real life? And so this is the question of okay, so if I trusted myself enough to let myself have and do and experience what I want, if I allowed myself the permission to prioritize my pleasure, what would that look like then? Wouldn't it take me away from my business goals? And the answer is yes. If your business doesn't light you up, then 24/7 cake and Netflix and scrolling on social media and even cleaning your kitchen will definitely seem more appealing, right? Now, I wonder if you're nodding along oh my God, yeah, I have given myself maybe this is you. Maybe you have got some kids at home and you're building your business, or maybe you're also working and building your business and you have a limited amount of time to be in your business. And then when you get some dedicated time, you're oh, maybe I'll just clean the kitchen, or oh, hang on a second. Oh my God, I've just been scrolling on socials for the last 30 minutes. Or yeah, when we are taken out of our business, out of taking that aligned action to do these other things, we are doing it because we are being driven by pleasure. Yeah. So pleasure is not the problem here. In fact, actually, I'll dive in with what the problem really is and what you can do about it. But here's the truth. If your offers don't excite you, so if you don't want to be facilitating the offers that you have on your website or that you have on your socials or that you're sharing with people in real life, if they don't excite you, if you don't want to facilitate those offers, if you don't like the platforms that you use, if you don't like your schedule that you're offering, if you don't like the way that you are sharing those offers and facilitating them, if they don't excite you, you're not going to want to sell them, right? If your clients don't inspire you, if you don't adore working with your clients, if you're not like obsessed with the people you get to work with, maybe obsessed is probably a too strong a word. Like if you don't enjoy the clients who you're working with, if you are not calling in your most ideal clients, and if selling feels like a chore, if creating content, if showing up and promoting what it is that you have to offer, if overall selling feels draining, feels hard, feels uncomfortable, then of course you are going to avoid your business. You will avoid your business because pleasure is what drives us. I've said it twice now, I'll say it again. Pleasure is what drives us. So just like if you don't get pleasure from having sex with your partner, you're not going to want to have sex with them. You're going to think of any reason, any excuse you can to avoid it. If you don't enjoy eating boiled spinach or like spam, or I'm just trying to think of some foods that are like a bit yuck. I pretty much like all food. But like if you don't enjoy eating a certain kind of food, you're not going to order it the next time you're out for a meal. You're not going to buy it and cook it at home, are you? Yeah, it's the same in our business. If your business doesn't feel good, will you want to show up for it? No, you are not going to want to show up for it. You're not going to want to tune in with your offers. You're not going to want to sell your offers, because if they don't bring you pleasure, you're not going to want to facilitate them. If you don't adore the clients who you work with, you're not going to want to call in more. Yeah, if selling feels really uncomfortable with you, you're not going to want to get out there and sell. If your business doesn't feel good, you're not going to want to show up for it. Instead, as I mentioned earlier, you'll find yourself doom scrolling and scrolling social media to convince yourself it is for inspiration or for market research or for, you're on a hook hunt. You'll find yourself organizing your workspace or cleaning your kitchen or organizing life admin or stuff for your kids instead of writing the emails, recording the podcasts, creating the reels, or writing the posts. You'll be getting distracted by everything but the tasks in your business that actually move the needle to create the results you want to create in your business. So the resistance, the procrastination, the avoidance, the comparison, the distraction that you feel, that is not because you're lazy or unmotivated. It's because your business lacks pleasure. Now, you've probably heard me speak about this before. Pleasure activates the reward system. Yeah. And what I'm talking about here is when we experience pleasure, we create a dopamine surge that tells a part of our brain, like, this is a good thing. Like, give us a reward for this, make us come back to this and do this again. Part of that is novelty, because as a species, we want to seek out novelty. We want to seek out variety and new experiences. So that's one of the ways we can hack our pleasure. But ultimately, like, to keep it really simple, what brings you pleasure motivates you. You are motivated towards the things that bring you pleasure. So as I said, like the resistance, procrastination, all of that, it's not because you're lazy. It's not because you don't have willpower. It's not because you don't know what you're doing. It's not because you're a naughty pleasurepreneur. It's not because you're in the wrong field or you're not in your path of purpose. It is simply because your business lacks pleasure. Yeah, the lack of pleasure makes selling heavy. The lack of pleasure, it drains your energy. The lack of pleasure leaves you stuck in like can't be fucked maybe later mode. Yeah, other things are going to seem way more important and way more enticing and appealing. But here is the goods. Here's the good news. When you prioritize your pleasure in your business, Yeah, like when you are threading pleasure through your business, when you are crafting offers that excite you to sell, when you find a selling style that feels authentic and like fun and easeful for you, when you call in clients that you adore, or like I said earlier, that like you are obsessed with, when you allow yourself the creative freedom that naturally attracts ideal clients, then cake and 24/7 Netflix and endless scrolling and cleaning the kitchen, they lose their appeal. Yeah, like when you thread pleasure through your business, you cultivate desire and motivation to grow it. So ultimately, threading pleasure through your business motivates you to be in your business doing what needs to be done. And that also means having that motivation makes you move fast. Yeah. So it makes you want to be like, right, let's get this done. That is why, like today, I'm like, oh my gosh, I am not surprised that I've had a few hours and I've gotten all this stuff done because I was looking forward to it, because I like the work that I do, because I took myself to the coffee shop for a couple of hours to write out however many emails, 5 emails that I wrote out, and a sixth one that I don't think I'll actually send. I'm just not vibing with it. But I've been able to work out how I can bring pleasure into my business, what I enjoy. It's going to look different for everybody. We all have our own unique desires. We all have our own unique things that bring us pleasure. Yeah. And so when you work out what it is that brings you pleasure, what it is that you desire in your business, and in creating the things that you feel as though are important to move the needle to create the results that you want. When you can weave pleasure in through those tasks and in through your schedule, and as I said, in through your offers and who you're calling in, you want to work, and the time you spend working is so much more efficient because you're motivated, because you're focused. When we're experiencing pleasure, it helps our prefrontal cortex function. Yeah, we have we have better brain function when we are experiencing pleasure, because one of the reasons is because it soothes our nervous system. Yeah, like we can't experience pleasure and be stressed at the same time. So just think about when you have been really productive and inspired and creative and focused, that is what is created when you can experience pleasure. So, as I said, when you thread pleasure through your business, you cultivate desire and motivation to grow it. So, if you're thinking like, that sounds really good, like, I don't want to be wasting the precious minimal time and energy I do have for my business, like fucking around, getting distracted, procrastinating, like avoiding what needs to be done and feeling like I'm stuck in like this like heaviness. It feels like maybe like I'm thinking, is it quicksand or is it mud? But basically like this resistance, this heaviness of like, oh, I got to get it done. If you want to be avoiding all of that and you want to be feeling energized and creative and inspired and focused and motivated and actually look forward to doing the work in your business that will lead to multiple 4-figure months and 5-figure months in your business, you need to get inside the mastermind. This, as I said, this is my approach to building your business, to creating an exponential income, yeah, to making more money and serving more people and being able to have that sense of satisfaction and fulfillment and reward in your work. This is the approach we take. We ensure that we have pleasure threaded throughout. Now, this is how pleasure, number one, helps you to increase your profit. It helps you to increase your income, yeah? Because obviously you're more motivated to take the action and you're more focused, it's clearer, and the action you're taking is actually move the needle action. But this is also how we build our business and make more money in our business with pleasure. Yeah, it is because we are threading the pleasure through it. We are actually enjoying the process. We enjoy the way that we operate our business. We enjoy the offers that we are putting out in the world. We enjoy the people that we're working with. Yeah, we enjoy the way that we show up to sell what it is we have to offer. And that is exactly what we learn in the Pleasurepreneur Mastermind. This is exactly what I help you with, to work out what it is that brings you pleasure. And sometimes just that first step alone is such a beautiful, juicy place of opportunity, where perhaps maybe your whole life you haven't had the opportunity to ask, like, well, what do I want? What does bring me pleasure? What does feel good for me? Like, you get to choose and to decide for yourself, like, isn't that interesting? Like, actually, this feels really good for me. Yeah, like, this gets to be playful. It gets to be an experiment. And whilst we're playing and experimenting and refining, what we're actually doing is creating your personalized pleasurepreneur strategy to help you make multiple 4-figure months plus in your business in a way that feels really good for you, whilst also leading a pleasure-filled life. Because don't forget, these skills, you transfer them into your whole life. When you start to pick up on what feels good for you and what you desire in your business, you also see that in the rest of your life as well. So I'm completely unsurprised that all of my clients, they don't just start to really enjoy their businesses alone, but they also have more connection and intimacy and fulfillment in their relationships and in their day-to-day lives. And they're a lot less stressed, and they're not stressing about the little things, you know? So if this sounds really good for you, I want you to come and click the link to apply now for the Pleasurepreneur Mastermind. Anyone who signs up before this Wednesday coming will actually get 2 weeks worth of bonus coaching. We've already started our bonus coaching. You'll also get a free one-on-one strategy session with me, and that's for pay in full. And you'll also get a offer suite audit. So I'm going to look at your offers, look at what it is that you want to create, what your desires are, and we work out what is not in congruence with that, so that you can start in the mastermind when we officially start in 2 weeks' time, and go gung-ho from there. All right, I see my kiddos have come home. So that's perfect timing to wrap up the podcast episode here. Thank you so much for joining me. Make sure if you've got any questions, you bring them into DMs on Instagram for me, and make sure you fill in that application form. Bye for now. Hey, Helen.
Hey, Mom.
That wraps up today's episode, but before I sign off, I want to let you know that doors to the next round of the Pleasurepreneur Mastermind are now open. You're listening to this podcast because you know you can have both, the income and the pleasure-filled life you desire, and the mastermind is where that becomes a reality for you. If you've decided 2025 is your year to create multiple 4-figure months in your business whilst being able to enjoy your life, like savoring slow mornings, snuggling your babes in bed, spending quality time with your family, or doing things that you enjoy outside of your business as well as in, you're going to love and totally transform yourself and your business inside the mastermind. It's my 5-month group coaching experience where we apply the key pleasurepreneur principles and strategies that actually move the needle to create multiple 4-figure months, so that you save your time, your energy, and your presence for where it counts. The mastermind is where you learn how to grow your income, sign more clients, help more people, and create a life that feels outrageously delicious and pleasure-filled for you. It's also the place where you're celebrated, supported, and witnessed by an intimate group of women who get it. You can apply right away by clicking the link in the show notes, or if you're curious and you want to learn more, send me a DM on Instagram and let's have a chat. You can also head to reganfig.com/mastermind or click the link in the show notes. But then I don't get to hear all about you and your business goals and desires for next year, which would be a bummer for me. But you follow what you desire. And if you have any questions, of course, send them my way. We don't begin officially until February, but the sooner you join, the more bonuses you'll get, such as coaching with me this side of the new year. Because it's an intimate group with only a maximum of 8 women inside, be sure to make yourself known to me sooner rather than later, as spaces are limited. All right, that's it from me. Thanks so much for tuning in. Bye for now.